Hello, I am joined by my dad. He works in music and he teaches coding. Tell him about what you've done musically in your life.
Well, classically trained on piano and played with lots of other ensembles, small ensembles, some classical, some pop, some jazz. Had great opportunities to conduct some orchestras and some youth orchestras. So, in classical and pop literature, so I think I know my way around, but this is going to be something new for me as we go from good old 8-bit sound to big full symphonic sound. So hopefully I'll give you my opinion as to what's going on here, and hopefully you'll walk away with a thing or two.
Yeah. So let's begin with the Game Awards Orchestra Game of the Year 2018. He has never seen any of these, by the way. So let's begin.
Obviously, mixing digital with classical symphonic settings. Yeah, lots of percussion going on, which is always good. Those big cymbal snare swells. Some low strings, held out notes.
And then switching games.
Again, the electronic versus acoustic. Good mix there. Always a good mix. I think that's an electric cello.
And at the end of this, he will
An electric
say
violin.
which is his favorite.
Love the French horns. Gotta have French horns. What are there? 4, 5, 6?
And this is what you were telling me about the God of War musical thing.
The God of War is the standard soundtrack that you want to have where you throw everything in it at one point. The entire kitchen sink of orchestra instruments. Go for it, horns. You can see the musicians are wearing their own headsets because they need to be able to hear themselves against the rest of the orchestra for balance and all that. So the conductor's doing a good job keeping that balance. Trying to get that Western style theme going. Nice. Someone knew how to write Western. Of course, the Marvel movies. A lot of Danny Elfman and Hans Zimmer going on. Don't know who composed this, but they've nailed the style.
Well, I'm pretty sure for most of these, the composer is Lorna Ball. If that rings a
For
bell.
the video game?
No, for
For the orchestra. Yeah, because that's what you got to do. You have an arranger who spends some time taking all those scores, listening to them, and creating this medley.
And that was the Game Awards Orchestra 2018. What did you think?
And that's pretty much the overture being played before all the awards are given out.
No, it plays right before they give out the last award of the night.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's kind of like the recap
Yeah,
of everything.
the big like
Okay. Where
finale.
we know what we're voting against or voting for, and they put everything in. Really nice. They've got a really big orchestra there, which is nice. Bigger is better in some of the sounds here, especially your electronic instruments can really overpower your acoustic, your strings and all that. You saw me talk about the French horns, and I have to be honest, the French horns were kind of overpowered. True French horn sounds, like from Beethoven's symphonies, they're just amazing how they pop. But I think they were kind of washed out here a little bit. Even when they had the trumpets in the Redemption section, I felt that they could have been more. Now, maybe when you're live, you hear it differently, but with the recording that's coming through and being posted out on YouTube, they might just be washed and blended away. But we heard the music that we needed to hear.
All right. And what would you say your favorite part of it was? Which song?
I I did like the Western style in Redemption.
Yeah, Red Dead
And I
Redemption.
did like Assassin's
I
Creed.
didn't mean. Yeah, no, I didn't mean
Yeah,
to say
especially when we had it mixed in with uh, the electric cello, the electric violin, and of course electric bass, mixing them in. Yep, she's having a lot of fun there.
that. And something to know. I won't have all these little side notes about all of these, but I do know some things about some of these people. This woman right here she was the actual composer for the game she worked on, which is why she's up on the orchestra with them, because she made the music for this game, Celeste, and it got nominated for Game of the Year. Didn't win. I think.
You see, now when I saw Celeste, I thought that was celeste, which is an instrument in the orchestra, and I thought it was highlighting something that had that celeste sound. If you don't know what a celeste sounds like, if you listen to the Nutcracker and the dance of like the Sugar Plum Fairies, ding 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 ding. That's a celesta, but that's her name.
All right, so that was 2018, and you'd give your pick for your favorite to Red Dead Redemption's part of the soundtrack?
Because they nailed the style. When you can nail the style of whether it's a Western or like James Bond films that had a lot of that 60s genre in it, when you can do that, and even with God of War, if you nail that ancient modal Mediterranean sound of like mythology, when you can nail that, that's really really good.
Yeah.
So, but with what was presented for this year and for the selections that were being offered, yes, I agree with that. I did like those choices.
All right. So the next one we have is 2019. Here we go.
Do they all start like this?
Yes.
Okay.
That's like the main theme. So starting with the Outer Wilds here.
Like an outer space sci-fi fantasy. See, when I hear this, and I know what the genre is, I'm thinking John Williams, and I don't hear John Williams here.
Here's Death Stranding. Really bizarre game to try to put music to.
I think I'm hearing the same music again. It's just, strings and just, low energy. But now you can hear the rhythm picking up and the tempo picking up.
Here's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Will the lawyers let us do this?
They should. There's no lyrics.
Very heavy with strings with all of these. Let's hear some other instruments. Come on. Ah, that one lone bassoon. Bassoons are awesome.
Here's
Don't know it.
Control. Oh, here we have some vocals. I believe it's Icelandic.
I guess. I'll say on that the balance was good because that many instruments, it can drown out a vocalist quickly. Ah, ethnic instruments could be flutes playing like a low register.
Oh yeah, this was the winner for the year.
Oh, don't tell me.
Oh, sorry. Here's another
Another vocal.
Yep.
Did you hear early on? The orchestra overpowered him, and someone pulled it back. That's good.
Thoughts.
Okay. They had a bassoon in there. Love the bassoon, but he didn't get. I mean, I couldn't hear it. Okay, the balance was just off. Now, again,
Maybe
whoever
it wasn't
is.
supposed to be the main part of it, though.
Yeah, well, look, when you hire a bassoon, use them.
I mean,
All these talented players are
you can't spell
expensive.
bassoon without bass.
You can't spell bassoon without ass. So, all right.
So, what would you say was your favorite? Because this year we actually had vocalists.
The vocalist didn't add anything to it for me. I know when there is vocals, I like it when they're.
I'll say something interesting. I hate to cut you off. Say something interesting about this one for Resident Evil 2.
Mhm.
This song was actually like sped up quite significantly from what it originally was. It wasn't usually this like fast paced.
Mhm.
At least in the original track, if I can actually pull it up for a second.
Well, here's what I'm saying. That when you listen to all of this, they're all the same tempo because either they have a time constraint or something. So even if you watch a movie on TV, you'll see them speed up the opening credits or to make it fit the time constraints. And that's what's happening here. So if you're saying that the song is much faster than it is in the video game, then that's true.
This is the original speed of it, and you notice how fast he was going in the actual.
And if you hear this, the balance is great. You can hear the vocals.
A lot faster.
No, I'm talking about the balance.
No, yeah, I'm just talking about the speed of it. Like a lot more slow and like drawn
Yeah,
out, but here it's like very fast paced. What did you think about this fellow singing? He had very like. His were very like throaty. I don't know.
Well, that's what Icelandic music sounds like now, doesn't it?
I wouldn't know.
I don't have a clue either. But again, this is my personal preference. If 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 it's something orchestral that sets a mood in like a movie, it's usually oohs and ahs or something bizarre. Like one of my favorite vocal pieces from John Williams is from one of his later Star Wars movies, and it's I forget the name of the tune, but it has Sanskrit as the language that they use, ancient Sanskrit, and this was like in one of the boss battles uh, in the movie, and it was really really well done. And it just takes the same tune, and I think the English translation was, "There's a voice tormenting me in my head," and I guess that's what all of the Darth characters suffer from. And that was the music that he wrote for it. Maybe we'll put that music in so people know what I'm talking about. But when you listen to it, you don't know that it's got lyrics. It just sounds like they're going, oh, but it truly is ancient Sanskrit. This, I could hear things to what he was saying, but I, I don't know. I prefer if it was like a choral of like those angelic sounds, those, but, that would only work in certain cases, and of course that trope is overdone quite a bit. But this turned out
Now,
well.
what would you say your favorite piece? Resident Evil, Sekiro, Control, Smash Brothers, Death Stranding, or The Outer Wilds?
I did like Smash Bros. That one, even though it comes from a digital world, that one I I think instrumentally they captured what's going on in the game.
Now, what do you mean when you say comes from a digital world?
Well, um, um, Mario goes way back to the original 8-bit days. You know, when we just had that music. I mean, you hear it, you know it. It doesn't have a lot of instrumental color. And when I say
The
color, it's the
first
sounds of all the instruments put together.
Mario eventually did start getting orchestrated
Oh,
music. I think on Mario Galaxy on the Wii was the first one,
mm-hmm.
and then I think since then they've been doing
Oh yeah, they've been abandoning
orchestrated
that. And when
versions.
they want to use that, we listen to it as oh, that's a throwback to the original days.
Yeah.
But I did rather like that.
So you would say that your favorite from this year was Super Smash Brothers, or
It's one of the ones up there. I'm sorry to say I have to say that the two vocal ones didn't resonate with me.
that's all right.
Okay, what was the one near the end?
Resident Evil and Sekiro.
Um, yeah, they were good too. I mean, can I vote for three?
What do you mean vote for three? What three are you voting for?
Well, what you're gonna play this now so I can listen to
I'll
it
let you
again?
re-listen. This was the one with you said with the that what was it, ethnic sounds or something?
Yeah, the ethnic woodwinds. Yeah, and flutists have to do something crazy with their lips to make that sound. Yeah, you know, upon second listening, I do like this.
And there's the bassoon player that got you all excited. All right, so you would say the father award goes to
Okay,
Sekiro.
sure.
That's what we'll call it. All right, next up is which one is this
So
one?
now I got to remember the games along the way too, so that way.
Now this one you won't be able to see the orchestra as much. It'll be mainly gameplay because this is where 2019 to 2020. We can't say what happened because I know YouTube's gonna flag us, but let's just say something happened in the world that shut down a lot of things.
Oh,
YouTube's
they're gonna shut us
YouTube's,
down.
YouTube's real like iffy about
Oh,
certain mentions about certain things.
yeah.
All right, so here we have Game Awards 2020. This might help you keep track of the games a bit more because it'll show more of the gameplay, at least for this year. In my opinion, 2019 for the orchestra, as good as it were, it did have some points where things sort of blended together sound-wise. But here we get some of the real bangers. Starting with Final Fantasy VII today.
Yeah, those upper woodwinds, very clear on this mix. Probably because of how they had to record it for this year.
Also, it should be noted, I hate to pause it just for a quick second. We're not listening with headphones, so if we do say something that, like, obviously it would be different the way you hear it with headphones on, then just ignore it, because again, we're listening to it off of a laptop. We don't have a big setup going, so let's continue. Sorry about that.
No worries. They had the suspended strings. I hope they do it again. That's a real cool effect musically.
And here we go to Doom Eternal. Now this one's interesting because this is originally like a heavy metal type of song. Ghost of Tsushima.
There's that little sub melody going back on top of it. Let's hear that. Strings and woodwinds.
Last of Us Part 2.
Ethnic instruments.
It's
Banjo.
a banjo.
Yeah, it's ethnic.
What makes it ethnic, can I ask?
An ethnic instrument is part of someone's culture. Banjos are from America.
All right. I know someone in the comments is going to correct you for that. Actually, it's from.
Well, it was in Africa and was brought
And
over to America.
Here's Hades. This is a personal favorite. And then Animal Crossing New Horizons.
Here again, how the strings are on top of everything. I like that effect. Key change.
So what did you think? This one is a person. I'm a big fan of this year's orchestra.
It's because of how it's mixed. You didn't have everybody live. Usually, when a symphony records, they're in a recording studio, and pretty much every single instrument has their own microphone. Or in this case, every single instrument was in its own location being recorded. And it could very well be that that stage isn't conducive to recording, and where these moments were recorded and mixed and blended and sweetened, this was really, really clear. I talked about there's this one orchestral effect that I really, really like, in which the strings hold a long note and things go on underneath it. It was happening a little bit in Animal Crossing, but when it started to play a melody, then it kind of shattered that effect. But when you had the whole string section being high and everything below it, it raises the intensity of the moment and the intensity of the music. And I listen for that and I look forward to that, because music also draws you into whatever it is, whether it's a movie, a TV show, a play, even just and a game. Yeah, it's meant to do that. Take the music out, and there's this emptiness.
Now, earlier I said something about how Doom Eternal is an interesting case for something getting orchestrated.
Sounds like
And
Spider-Verse.
I don't know how like arranging things like that really works.
What do you mean, like from the video game that had all that like scratchiness to it?
Like a thrash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Type of,
that's
all these
done in
heavier-
post-production. Very difficult to do with a live orchestra.
What would you say was your favorite of the year? I think there's a lot of good ones.
There is.
Starting with Final Fantasy, Doom, Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, Hades, and Animal Crossing.
The first two.
Really?
Final Fantasy, that one had some good sounds to it, and it had these suspended strings. Hear how clear the woodwinds are? Very clear.
And then you'd also say Doom.
Doom, yes, because for anyone who knows anything about music, your key signature does tell you a lot. This is in a minor key, and it had a little bit of minor modal. The minute you go modal, then you're hearing like ancient Egyptian and Middle Eastern and Oriental sounds to it. And if we're looking at like creatures like hellhounds and stuff like that from the ancient mythologies, you want to have that ancient sound. And again, hats off to the composer for recognizing and doing that. Yeah. Now, if you listen, that little swishy crash, that's a suspended cymbal, and the percussionist has soft mallets, and they'll go slow until they build up a crescendo, and then that thing just gives that big crash. a popular trope in lots of pops orchestrations, um, uh, Broadway movies that just brings that up. You won't see that in a lot of classical
I always
music.
thought when it was something like that, it was just like some type of Tom and Jerry just got his head smashed in between two cymbals,
Yeah.
and it was just.
No, that. No, that's definitely to be heard. Yeah, those two cymbals crashing.
All right,
Um,
so the father the father award is split between Final Fantasy VII and Doom Eternal.
I'm going to give it to Doom Eternal.
Really? Okay.
Yes, because again, it was in that true minor key that got, ethnic modal.
Okay. Moving on, we have 2021. So this is back with a live orchestra because it was after that event, we'll just say.
Mhm.
And yeah, here we go. And I really like the stage they had because you see those lights, they go with the starting with Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart.
Drummer's having a ball.
Here's It Takes Two.
Tart heartstring tugging sounds.
Makes sense. This game is all about love.
That's it, major key.
And here's Psychonauts 2. Is that talking about before with the holding the string out?
No. They're moving, but they're good. Yeah, that's good upper melody going on.
Resident Evil Village.
And that cymbal roll. Real thick string bass guitar plucking going on there.
And here's Metroid Dread.
That's all we have this year? 3 French horns and 2 turtle doves. It's a heroic theme, but I've heard better.
Here's Deathloop. Where did she come from? What?
Yeah, I know. She's in the wrong section. She should be with the rest of the electric instruments.
I don't know. I think she might be the only electric instrument, at least that I see here. And there's, of course, I know what you call it, the motif.
Yeah, the opening and closing. Oh, a different conductor this year.
I didn't even notice that, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time they showed him. We got that right away.
Yeah. Alright, so, wait, what is going on up here? Oh, that's,
A presenter, someone forgot
yeah,
to cut the video short.
yeah, that's the winner presenting. And the winner was, It Takes Two.
That's for the game, not
yeah,
for the
not,
music.
not for the music, no. Not all of the games that get nominated for Game of the Year get nominated for Best soundtrack.
In Hollywood, if you want to win like Song of the Year or Score of the Year, a best score, best song, it has to be written right then and there.
Yeah.
In the famous movie Casablanca, it scored a lot of wins, but it didn't get best song because the song was used years earlier, and the song's called As Time Goes By, and it didn't win the award. And everyone's like, why didn't it win the award? Because it was disqualified because it was written before. In movie scoring, there's another thing you want to keep in mind too, that you know what the movie's going to be because the composer will watch it and get some ideas, or they'll work closely with the director during the scoring process and they'll come up with a theme. Or if Hans Zimmer was asked to do another Pirates movie, Pirates of the Caribbean, he's already got his Pirates theme, he's got his Captain Jack Sparrow theme, he'll mix them in and rehash them. But the in movies, music will tell you who's behind the door. If it's tense and serious, you know what's behind the door. But if it's uplifting and whimsy and comical, again, you'll know who's behind the door. Is it friend or foe? So same thing here. The style of the music will also tell you what's going on. Who's lurking behind the shadows? Is this a tense moment, or is this a time to breathe? And next time you go to the movies, keep that in mind. Listen to the music and see how it's drawing you into something. Okay.
All right. So, what would you say was your favorite of the year? It's been we've been talking for a bit.
Oh,
but...
I already picked it. Psychonauts.
Really?
Yes, I liked that music.
That makes me happy. I love Psychonauts.
Yeah.
And I love the little stage effect with the light going around in circles. He's in the zone.
Yes.
Moving on, we have 2022, I believe. All right, so here is 2022. Is this the year I'm thinking of? Okay, I think this might be the start of a very special character that we'll be seeing a lot of very shortly. Horizon Forbidden West.
It's got that good driving rhythm in it.
Oh, is there captions on? I'm sorry. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. And here, yeah, there he is.
It's not a piccolo, it's like a real high recorder.
I actually never noticed he switched that fast here.
Oh, you'd be surprised how fast reed players and woodwind players can switch their instruments quickly.
No. This here. And here's Plague Tale Requiem.
So far,
sorry to pause that.
Okay.
What were you saying? Sorry.
I was gonna say, so far nothing's resonating with me. So let me listen.
The Xenoblade fans will not be happy. There he is. Here's Stray. I forgot Stray got nominated.
This 2-5-1 motion going on there. Music people will know what that is. It's over and over again.
Oh, the cameraman bumped into something. Let me.
You think?
I think so. Here's Elden Ring. Here's what won Game of the Year. Here's
flute.
God of War Ragnarok, the winner of Best Soundtrack.
Trombones get some airplay here.
And that was 2022. What did you think?
Oh man, I'll be honest, they just all started blending together. That one game where I said it had that 2-5-1 motion.
Stray?
Yeah. I mean, it was nice, but it was overdone. You know what? I think I'm going to give the Dad Award to just anything with Pedro. Where was he playing the piccolo recorder? That was
that was
that
Xenoblade.
small black. Okay. You know what? I'll go with that one. Did I make Xenobladers happy?
I think so. Xenobladers?
Yes.
If they don't call themselves them, you better start calling yourselves that now. I'm not too sure about this, but it is what I've heard. I haven't played Xenoblade Chronicles 3, but from what I know, flutes are like a very important thing in like the game, and like they have meaning and like a purpose to them in the game and its story.
Now, are the flutes part of a certain character or a certain family of characters?
I think I see again. I haven't played the game, so I don't know. I know I think the main character has something heavily with flutes, and so
Yeah.
something interesting about Stray, the game you said with the what was it 5-1?
The 2-5-1 motion.
2-5-1. This was
If
an
I had a
indie
piano
game.
here, I would play for it. So they hired maybe their buddy to write the music for it.
That's so mean.
Oh no!
I'm sure it was maybe like a small team,
or a
but
small budget. You know, hats off to indies that make it this far. This is great.
2023. This was last year. Yo, and no ad. Starting with Alan Wake 2. It's a little quiet.
Maybe it's meant to be. Maybe it's going to go big as the song goes on.
Let me know if you want me to turn it up at all.
No, I'm good.
And there's Pedro back again. Here's Baldur's Gate 3, the winner of the year.
Is that vocal in there?
Yeah, those are the oohs and ahs that you love.
Where's it coming from, though? It could either be a choir or digitized. It might be on the keyboard in a digital setting.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder. Resident Evil 4.
The strings are finally doing something different.
This video is going to be a perpetual battle with you and the strings. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Oh, there's piano.
But it's a setting, like a harp setting that he's playing.
I think it's still impressive. Marvel Spider-Man 2. Oh, there's...
See how he's got to stand up to play it?
He's playing it like a saxophone. I like how the camera hasn't changed since he's picked that up. Oh, now it has. Back to the French horns. Now, what did you think of 2023's Orchestra?
Well, again, the orchestrations were written based on the game to be played by this symphony orchestra. Looks like the piano, at least I'm catching it now for the first time, was doing a lot of pre-recorded digital sounds. Like instead of it sounding like a piano, it sounded like a harp, or some other kind of like a percussive pitched instrument. And that could also be where the ahs were coming from.
Yeah, I don't know what was doing that.
I want to say this about the conductor. The conductor has his hands available that everyone can watch and see, and he's telling them what to do. With one of his hands, he can have them bring the sound up, and everyone follows it. But the people in the booth that are recording this and having it played back for the audience, they control the final sounds. So he could be having them pull up as much as he wants, and they'll say, no, we're going to control it that way.
Really?
I know a trumpeter who was playing in an orchestra pit of a touring Broadway musical, and he was told that he had to play in front of his microphone. And he turned away from the microphone to get his own sound. And at intermission, they went to him and said, don't ever do that again. You blow into that microphone and we will control your sound. So again, you're doing what you want to do, but they're controlling the sound. I guess if they left it without any amplification and let the instruments do their thing, then we could hear the bassoons come out and we could hear more of Pedro on his whole galaxy of instruments that he's playing there. Again, that's why I'm here, folks, to give my orchestral interpretation of what's going on. Okay, so you want to hear the Dad Award?
Yes.
Starting
with, we had Alan Wake, Baldur's Gate 3, Mario Brothers Wonder, Resident Evil 4, Legend of Zelda, and Marvel's Spider-Man 2.
The Baldur's Gate, because it had that chorus in there.
And the
I liked that. Okay, but coming in second behind that, it was where was it? No, it wasn't Spider-Man. Sorry, Spider-Man fans. It wasn't Mario.
Was it Legend of Zelda?
And it wasn't Legend of Zelda. So what's that?
Evil?
I guess it was Resident
There
Evil.
was Resident Evil and Alan Wake.
Not Alan Wake.
Interesting.
I think I worked with an Alan Wake. I don't know. Can't remember.
This one?
Yes. This is the one where the strings are doing dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Makes sense. A much more like tense and like
a driving force underneath it.
All right.
Yeah.
So an honorable award to Resident Evil 4, and the big Dad Award goes to Father Award goes to Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll do 2024.
All right.
Now, he has listened to it, but he has not seen it. All right, here we go. You ready?
Yes.
The most current one, this happened 2 months back at the Game Awards. I loved it. I love the show. So. Starting with Metaphor Refantasio. You can hear some of
The choral, digitized chorus.
Elden Ring, Shadow of the Earth Tree.
There's a solo violin in there, I think.
Second flute. And of course, they got a real robot to sing this on stage. This was the winner for Game of the Year, by the way.
Uh-huh.
What do you think of that?
A toy trumpet. A glass trumpet? Really?
Here's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, what did you think of 2024?
Okay, now I think the orchestrations and the recording and the sound engineering is really becoming clear. You heard me complain earlier throughout all of this how some of the instrument families were getting either like washed over or not as prominent. I really heard good, clear, especially the French horn family with their little da 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 going on, and I don't know. It just sounded much clearer here, and even at the end when they have that last final punch, that final nail in the coffin. There's some low instrument, usually a bass, that's just dragging out. Oh, heard clearly here.
All right.
Okay. Again, good scoring, as I would say here.
There is some interesting things. Of course, Pedro, the star of the show this year. 7 different woodwinds or flutes. But I feel like that big 4-shaped one can't be considered a flute anymore.
I know that there's a real low flute, like a contra bass flute, that's like
Is
5
that
and
it?
6 feet tall.
That might be it,
I
but,
don't know that elbow bend. It might be. I'd have to look it up as a picture. I'm not a flutist or flautist or whatever they want to call themselves.
This game was made by one person, and do you want to know who did the music for it? The developer of the game got a dude on Fiverr to make the music. The developer thought no one was going to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always good to see, the underdogs. And
so he was at one of these, he did it all. Kind of like an
of.
Undertale kind of person.
And it's supposed to be able to loop infinitely.
I know, this is 1 hour.
I don't know, I think that's really cool though. What's a game you would know?
That's a card game?
No, that
Compare it to Inscription.
Astrobot's another interesting one. I think.
I Am Astrobot. Nah. Even without the I Am Astrobot, again, it was just meh. In this arrangement, yes. But when you put it in the orchestra, it becomes different.
And this game won Game of the Year.
Oh, good.
It had Sly Cooper in it.
Bringing back Sly. Nothing like a retrofit. You're going to have to go back again for me to see what it was that I liked.
Alright, so we have Metaphor Refantasio. A lot of the... I really do like the orchestration of this year. I think it's like top three.
Yeah, they did deliver good product this year.
Then Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree.
I think, again, I'm listening to the music and I'm missing what each one is for. I know you're announcing them, but
would you like to take a...
Let me hear a re-listen on this a little bit. Okay, the solo ethnic instrument. You see, now he's starting to come out more over all the other years. This is what I like. Again, the clarity of the French horns. There's going to be other clarity in the brass instruments.
I've also noticed this man has been here every year. He's always got like this wise old beard.
He's the driving force behind all of it. In fact,
Yeah.
I mean, you hear him on everything. He is driving this orchestra. Sometimes you have to be careful as a conductor. If you've got a drummer who really is like in his zone and in his groove, you won't be able to change. It's like a car going fast and you want to slow it down. You just have to start applying the brakes and just let it gradually come down to a slower speed or a slower tempo. Same thing with this guy. He's really driving it. And here's another thing too that we keep forgetting. They are playing against a screen behind them that they can't see.
Yeah.
So it's the conductor that has to make sure everything lines up
Well, do they
when the
not
new theme
also
comes
have
in.
sheet music?
They have sheet music, but they can't see what's playing behind them. So they're relying on that. Plus, obviously, this has been recorded. As I look at this, sometimes people like at the Super Bowl, they'll lip sync it because that's the only way to get it to be heard by the crowd. It'll be pre-recorded, they'll lip sync it. I don't see any evidence of pre-recording in this. It's all live. It's all spot on.
The only things that might be are the digital effects of the little I Am Astrobot, and then...
I think that's in the keyboard.
Really?
Yes.
What about like the chorus?
That too.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So, what would you say gets the Father Award?
The one we just, what was it?
Black Myth Wukong?
I think that was it. Yeah.
With the.
Yes.
All right. Now,
2017.
Yep. The one that will get us flagged.
So we're putting it at the end, folks.
You could be standing up there with Pedro, and he'll outdo you.
He'll knock me out. Nothing like an electric cello solo. What was the opening theme?
So this was, I think, the first year they did the orchestra.
Oh, I get it.
I think. Or maybe this was just all before they actually had that theme. But we're starting with... There he is, all the way back there.
A young Pedro.
So it was starting with Horizon Zero Dawn. It's a very small piano, is it?
It's digital.
Persona 5.
first time we're hearing a drummer laying down a beat, and it's not obnoxiously driving.
So interesting for this, they're using violins as a stand-in for the vocals.
Oh, I didn't know.
Of course, there's Pedro.
So there'll be someone singing this theme right now.
Yeah, I can show you the. I forgot this game got nominated. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. I'm not even sure this game has music. Here we go. Here's where we get copyrighted. And that was Game of the Year 2017. A lot more different from the years that come after, because they don't really flow together. There's like breaks in between.
Yeah, and you can see like the video that they're producing in the background. It doesn't have, they haven't gotten their style quite
Yeah.
yet for. I mean, the early one, this is the first one. It was nice because they didn't try to throw every instrument in to make a big sound and have have the drum set just keep pushing the rhythm. It was nice that they played it at its own pace, because I'm sure some of these other games have a free rhythm style of their music, but no, it had to be put into this strict rhythm that the drums and the bass and percussion section was laying out. So this was more pure of a sound.
Now, what do you think? Do you think it would have benefited with a vocalist instead of the violin, or do you think because the rest of it is orchestrated, it works better?
But you already had an orchestra. You already had a vocalist on stage. Why not have her continue?
So what would you say was your favorite from this year?
One of the first two I liked.
I was kind of blown away with how like pretty this piece was.
You know what? Just by you showing me that image, I come back to it now. It's the one with all the dinosaurs, and that was nice.
It was sort of like a nice duet between those two.
Mm-hmm. And we could hear them as in their pure tones, not drowned out. The dad vote goes to the first.
What would you say is your favorite year?
I can't remember what year it was, but
Can you remember one of the songs? Or like one of the
Psychonauts. See, this is going to be tough for me to answer.
Which one you had the most enjoyment listening to?
What was the one with Assassin's Creed?
That would be, I think, 2018. That was the first one.
No.
With Celeste?
Yes.
You'd say this was your favorite?
Yeah. I think this year
2024?
all of them were good.
Or
It was tough to find one winner, one top one from all of these.
You picked your favorite songs in all of them. You've picked your favorite show. What was your favorite singular piece out of every single one, if you
Out
could?
of all of them?
Yeah. Because, I mean, you at least have a list of favorites.
Yeah. Could I hear Red Light again?
Red Dirt.
Red. Again, I like the Western theme, the Western style, but that wasn't enough. I'm going to have to go Psychonauts.
Wow. I did not expect Psychonauts to pick up the big Grandfather Award.
Mm-hmm.
Any closing thoughts about this? Anything you want to say to the people about music or anything just...
Well, you know that this could have been digitized.
Yeah.
And everyone could have been fired. And I'm a big advocate of having live musicians. When I see theater companies rent a recording without the vocalist singing and then they do it from that way, I say, no fair. you know, you've got to have live musicians to really, really, give it that punch. And I'm glad to see that they're doing that here. And again, it could be easy to digitize music for the real video games. But when they come out in real life like this is, you know, this is the way music should be. And even though there might be electronic instruments and electronic instruments that weren't ever meant to be electronic, like electric violin, electric cello, um, they they have their own interesting color. And many times, people will listen to music and they'll say, "What is that instrument?" And it could be just a common instrument doing something different, like playing the bow differently, or playing in its highest range, or playing in its lowest range. And that's a different color of sound that really, really sticks. Me, uh, you don't want to be in my brain when I go to the movies. When I go to the movies, I'm listening also to the soundtrack, and I'll hear things, and I'll say, you know what? I'll bet the rest of this audience did not hear what I just heard, but that was great what they just did with the score. And same thing here. You know, getting the live musicians, giving them the work to do it, is always a plus.
So, yeah, I think that's just about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this little fun video of a person who loves music and person who loves video games just watching the Game Awards Orchestra.
This was fun. Shake on it.